Hello, lovelies, and welcome back to An Angel's Life of Bookish Goodness. Today is Tag Tuesday, and it's also the 4th of July, so I decided to do the 4th of July book tag, which was originally created by Talking Leaves back in 2015, and it looked super fun, so I figured I'd give it a go. So the first question is, Getting Patriotic, show 3 books that you've already read that are red, white, and blue. So for red, I have Red Storm Rising, and not just because the red's in the name, but also the cover is this beautiful red cover. And this is a chillingly authentic vision of modern war. Red Storm Rising is as powerful as it is ambitious. Using the latest advancements in military technology, the world's superpowers battle on land, sea, and air for ultimate global control. It's a story you will never forget. Hard-hitting, suspenseful, and frighteningly real. And Tom Clancy, he's very well known for his spy thrillers. I personally enjoyed this far more than most of his spy thrillers. And there's a certain element that is included in it as well, but it is a huge book. And the first time I read it in one day because it was just so engrossing. So super awesome book right there. For white, I chose Deerskin. And it's a bit of a reach, but see, the spine is white and the back is white, and there's a lot of white in the cover. Okay, I'm cheating a little bit, but as Princess Lassar reaches womanhood, it is clear to all the kingdom that in her breathtaking beauty, she's the mirror image of her mother, the queen. But this seeming blessing forces her to flee for safety from her father's wrath. With her loyal dog Ash at her side, Lassar unlocks a door to a world of magic, where she finds the key to her survival and an adventure beyond her wildest dream. And I absolutely loved this book. It was probably one of the first books I cried to. I read it when I was 10 or 11 and absolutely loved it. There's some pretty heavy elements in it. Probably shouldn't have read it at that age, but super awesome book, worth the read. And for blue, I chose A Time to Kill by John Grisham. And for anybody who has seen the movie is super awesome. The book is even better. And it was awesome. I actually thought about being a lawyer after reading this book. It was really cool. But I didn't. I became a writer instead. Go figure. Anyway, really great book. Number 2, a book with your favorite ragtag band of revolutionaries. And that was really hard because there are so many awesome books to include in that. But I decided I would do one I haven't done before, and that is Tamora by Becca Cooper. And this is a fantasy novel. And in 246 HE, the provost's dog guard Tartal's capital city. Becca Cooper is one of their newest trainees, a puppy wet behind the ears, but eager to learn. But Becca will have to learn faster than she bargained for because she's assigned to the lower city, Chorus's toughest district. It's filled with pickpockets who are fast as lightning, rogues who will knock your teeth out with a smile, and murderers with hidden plans. In the constant battle for the lower city streets, Becca will have to use her smarts and her own eerie brand of magic if she hopes to survive. This is the beginning of Becca's story, her legend, and her legacy. And I really enjoyed this book. I don't know why. I think I read it when it first came out, and the other books hadn't come out yet, so I haven't read the other books. But when I saw this on my shelf when I was trying to find the ragtag band of revolutionaries that I wanted to do, I went, oh, why never finish the series? So I'm going to have to go get the rest of the books in the series. The third one is to show a book that takes place in one of the original 13 colonies. And I had to do some digging. I knew the book immediately that I wanted to do was one that I read back when I was a teenager, and through various moves and all sorts of chaos and madness, I can't find the book on my shelves, which is super frustrating. Worst part of moving ever, right? Losing books. And I'm not entirely sure that this book is the right one, but I'm going to put it up there because I think it is the right one. Anyway, it's called Roanoke, A Novel of the Lost Colony by Sonia Levitin. And it was my first experience reading historical fiction. And I was so engrossed. I think I was like 11 or 12 when I read this book. And it was so incredible. I'd never even heard, I'm sure I had vaguely heard of the Lost Colony, but it had never really made an impact on me before. But the story that I remember, and I think it's this one, the young man who's the main character falls in love with a Native American woman, and then when their colony's in trouble, the Native American tribe helps them to survive and takes them south, and then they run into Spanish. And so from the description, it sounds like the same book, but it was really cool, and it started me on this whole historical bent that I still enjoy today, reading historical fiction because of this book. That's the one that started it. So it definitely earns a spot on my shelf. And I need to go buy it again because I didn't know I didn't have it. My kids totally need to read that book. So, okay. Fifth one is show a book that takes place in England. And there are so many awesome, especially in the historical fiction realm, books that I could have chosen. But I ended up going with The Sport of Queens by Dick Francis. Dick Francis is known in English circles for writing kind of modern mystery type stories. It's kind of like a modern Sherlock Holmes type character, and this was the first book that I read in the series, so much that I completely raided the library and got all of the books, and the librarian was so impressed with how much I enjoyed the books that she ended up giving me this one, which, you know, as a teenager, when people give you books, it's super exciting. So holds a special place in my heart. Started me on the whole series. It's all about racetracks, and I was living in Kentucky at the time, and they were really famous for the Kentucky Derby, so it helped me to connect to the culture there. It was just this, it was pretty formative. So, and it's a really fun read, sort of, as if you like mysteries. It's a really fun read. It's kind of dark, but anyway. The fifth one is Time for Fireworks. What books would you say ends with a bang? And I don't have the physical book yet, but I am throwing up Andy Palaquin's Blade of the Destroyer, because I was totally not expecting the ending, and it was so wow that it made me want to read the next books in the series. And not just because I absolutely love the character, but I want to know this. He lets loose this huge, unexpected bombshell that gets dropped on the hunter, and now the hunter has this journey that he has to go on to figure out who he is, what he is, and what's he going to do with that. And I'm really excited to find out what he does with that. So, Blade of the Destroyer, great fireworks at the end. The sixth question is show 3 books that you would like to read, 1 red, 1 white, and 1 blue. And my red, it was so hard picking books for this list. I have like 75 books on my to be read list, and a lot of them are red, white, and blue because red and blue called me. They're my favorite colors. So, okay, the red one is War and Pieces, and this is by Joe Michaels. It's a Frayed Fairy Tales telling, and I love the cover because I hate heels, and she's cracking that heel, and I kind of love that. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to reading that one. And then for the white, I'm kind of cheating on this. I totally am. I'm guilty. But this is the book that I am currently reading. And I was going to do it for the blue, but I have another one for the blue. So, and I was having a hard time finding white covers. They're tricky. Anyway, but there's a lot of white in this cover, so we're going to count it. Totally going to count it. And then The False Prince, which is a blue book. My son has been all over me to read this book. It's by Jennifer A. Nielsen, and we've only had it for like a year, and look how worn it is because he has read it over and over and over. I can't even tell you what it's about because the back is so worn off because he's read it so many times, but I know that it's about 4 boys, 1 treacherous plan, and an entire kingdom of fools, and that tagline right there sold me on it. Plus, my son, read it, read it, read it, read it, read it. Every time I turn around, every time I start a new book, he's like, read this book. So, those are the books that I did for the 4th of July tag. given that it is 4th of July, I was totally slack. I had family in town last week, and so I didn't really plan ahead. I'm not going to tag anybody in this, but if anybody picks it up and decides to do it, awesome. Be sure to let me know down in the comments down below so that I can go check out your video, because in my house, 4th of July is all about books. All right, thanks so much for watching, and until next time, keep reading.